Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And today, I don't know if this is long awaited for anyone else, but it's long awaited for me. We're gonna be doing the deep dive that I've been talking about with Higurashi no Naku Koroni. This anime I have been watching and keeping up with for a very long time, since I was a young girl at the age of 12. And I'm gonna get started from the very beginning of my journey. Yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it, because this is actually a really fun story for me to tell, because it tells the story of essentially where my anime journey started after being introduced, basically, because Higurashi was the first anime that I watched on my own without my brothers, who introduced me to anime originally. For anyone curious, I'm 28 years old, almost 30. I grew up in the age of forums, and I joined my very first forum when I was around 11 or so. And it was this really dope Final Fantasy forum. I made a lot of friends on there. I'm not as active as I used to be because, we don't have time to sit around and chat on forums like we used to, but I still remember the name of this forum to this day. This is really important to the story because this is where I'd read the title Higurashi for the first time. Now, anime, as I said, I was introduced to anime with my brothers. I'd already watched it for years, since I was like 7 or 8. We'd watched only shonen, so I was into Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, Rurouni Kenshin, and Caballeros del Zodiaco. For anyone who is Hispanic and grew up in Spanish-speaking countries, that's what's the English translation for that? I'll put it here if I ever remember, but yeah. Caballeros del Zodiaco, cuando lanzan su ataque. Those were all shows that I grew up watching with my brothers, and they all are very sentimental to me and hold a very special place in my heart. But I'd never watched anything on my own yet. There was nothing that I had seen that I ventured and was like, oh, this looks interesting. I want to see that on my own. Until I walked into a dark anime you'd recommend thread on that forum that I was just talking about. And this is where my small imagination became massive and just so curious of what could be out there. And do you know what? My curiosity sure did kill my cat. Okay, that's not how that saying goes, but you know what I mean. Some of the anime mentioned in that thread were Monster, Vampire Hunter D, Berserk, Hellsing. These are all anime that I eventually watched myself and have become favorites. I have them in my bookshelf behind me, but I really wanted to start with one that looked like less intimidating to my 12-year-old mind, okay? One that wouldn't scare my pants off the second that I started watching it. This was probably a big mistake, because the one that I chose, the one that looked the most innocuous, was probably the most fucked up one for 12-year-old me to watch at the time. And this was Higurashi no Naku Koroni. I'm not even kidding. Like, if you look at the cover, it looks like it's a slice of life anime, and I thought it was just gonna be like slightly creepy. No, no, I was wrong.
I was so wrong about that.
I know what you're thinking. Liz, didn't you research it at all before watching it? The answer is no. Okay, I didn't. Look at the cover. Do they look tortured to you? I thought the cutesy look of the cover meant the subject matter was even a little lighter. Boy, was I about to learn how fucking wrong I was. This was the anime to teach me don't judge a book by its cover, okay? Hinamizawa is probably the scariest setting because it seems so peaceful with, the quietness. It's the soft breeze and the chirping cicadas, and it hides behind this very thick veil of mystery and murder. But you would never know that just by looking at the cover. And that's where I fucked up. Yeah. I never expected the story to immerse me in the way that it did, with its psychologically fucked up characters that have their own individual traumas, and the unnerving suspense of where the story could go. I just found myself engrossed in this anime about children stuck in time loops, cursed to kill each other for all of eternity. Okay? Looking back now, it definitely is easy to see how this anime has influenced my taste in anime ever since. I tend to love characters like Rika Furude, where they're forced to go through these endless struggles of despair, and they're trying to get to this better place, just to realize that no, there's no way out. And that's what really got me with this anime ever since I was a kid. Like, you really are rooting for them to somehow make it out of this curse, this time loop. She wants to stop this from continually happening, but there's nothing she can do. It's Oyashiro-sama's curse, and it's just this little girl. Technically, Rika, you come to find out that Rika isn't truly a little girl. She's lived through so many of these time loops that she's essentially like this old spirit inside of the body of a little girl. And it comes out every now and then. And it's another thing that I really like about that anime, where it was the first time in an anime where you see their sanity or their facial expressions just flip like on a dime. It's fucking insane. It's so weird. And then you like go to the other person's face in the conversation and they're fucking terrified, and you switch back to the person and their face is normal again. That shit had me fucked up on multiple occasions. Like, the very first time that this happens on screen is with Rena and Keiichi in the second episode. And I remember this because she screams, "Oh, Zelda!" Like, just loud at him. And this means you're lying, I think. Or, that's a lie. Essentially, he's trying to catch her in a lie. And she's like, "Nah, motherfucker, you lying to me, and you're not gonna get me to admit that I'm lying without first telling me that you're also lying." And these are children. Like, these are children in school. And dude, that fucked me up.
知らない人だよ。
知らない人がなんで圭一君に用があるの？
俺が知りたいよ。
じゃあ何の話をしていたの？
みんなとは関係のない話だよ。
嘘だ！圭一君に内緒や隠し事があるようにレナたちにだってあるんだよ。
I don't know, man. And what's funny is that the very first episode opens with the flash of what's going to happen at the end of the first arc. Because this anime is divided into different question arcs. And you want to know why or what it is that led them to the situation. So in the first episode, he's murdering the people. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And you would think that that was my first inkling that something was off. But the anime only got more and more horrifying, and 12-year-old Liz just couldn't pull herself away from the screen. Until this one scene. There was one scene that made me pull myself away. And if you've watched Higurashi, you know the scene. It involves fingernails. But yes, this anime was very ahead of its time, I think. And it's stuck with me ever since. Now, a couple years ago, I think in 2020, they announced that Higurashi was going to get a remake. And it was going to be titled Higurashi-Gou. And everyone in the fan base was extremely excited, myself included. Because it has been at least 10 years since we got any Higurashi content. I don't think it's been 10, probably less than that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, we got a small revival in the series, and we all thought that it was going to be like a graphical update of the old 2012 anime. Turns out we were all fucking wrong. At the end of the very first episode, you realize that things are going differently.
Hinamizawaダム工事現場作業員リンチしバラバラ殺人あったんだやっぱり
Like, the arcs are the same. So what's happening is you're having the same arcs happen, but slight differences. And different things are leading to different reactions. And as the season is going along, you know, I have my thinking cap on and I'm like, okay, no, there's a different player on the board. And that was my theory throughout the whole thing, because I tend to stay away from social media when animes are airing. And I won't watch it until it's completed and I can binge it. So that's what I did with Go. Thankfully, Higurashi doesn't seem to have such a big fan base where people like to spoil things. They label things. You don't have to worry about landmines on the internet, which is nice. I didn't see any spoilers, and I was able to predict that Satoko is a fucking liar. She is the second player on the board, and she has been sabotaging Rika the entire time to fucking get her to stay in Hinamizawa with her. And bro, when I tell you that my brain exploded, because here is 28-year-old Liz, right? Watching the anime grow from where it was to where it is now, and I'm like, bro, my brain is just, it has melted now, because you have these two characters You have Satoko and you have Rika. And they're both like they're both flawed, obviously. No one is perfect in this world. Rika would like anything outside of Hinamizawa. She wants to get out of there so she can stop reliving her life of constantly murdering her classmates and her friends and watching them all die in a time loop forever and ever and ever. And all Satoko can think about is, this bitch better not abandon me. What is she doing? No. And it's like, bitch, can't you even sympathize just a little bit? Just a little bit with Rika? Like, I get it. The whole school portion where they grow up and they go to school and Satoko feels like she has been just pushed to the side and ignored, and just she feels like she's been left behind by her best friend. That hurts, but that doesn't mean that you could just go full yandere and just fucking pull her guts out and gaslight her into staying in Hinamizawa. Like, let me tell you, the shit that I have seen in this fucking I will say though, Go surpassed all of my expectations. I loved every second of it. It was wonderful. I haven't finished Sotsu yet. Sotsu is the answer arcs connected to Go, and I'm loving them so far. I've only made it halfway. So we get to see Rena fucking murder her dad's mistress, and it explains why she goes off the rails and murders Keiichi. There's just so much to unpack in Sotsu. So I might do a follow-up. I might do a separate video just detailing all of the different arcs and stuff. But I just wanted to do just a little side project about Higurashi because I love it so much. It's very detailed and complex, and it's fun to see all the different threads and where everything has gone wrong. It's a very underrated series, but again, it's not for everyone. It's definitely very gruesome, and it's a lot of children killing each other. So, yes. That's probably why I watch all the fucked up shit that I watched today. So thanks for joining me on this wonderful journey. And I'm not sure what our next video is going to be on, but I have quite a few topics that I want to talk about. So they all go into my little Luffy journal. We have a shit ton of things to cover, so stay tuned. We'll be here. You'll probably be seeing some streams from me on Twitch as well. So if you want to follow me on Twitch, my Twitch is twitch.tv/lizsama13. And thank you so much for watching me ramble about children killing each other. Till next time, guys. Peace.